Well, Epic Universe announced another portal open. We're going to talk about that tonight. There's going to be a lot of spooky things happening. We'll talk about that too. And of course, D23 is coming up. We're going to give you all our predictions all tonight on ParksCenter. Friends, welcome to ParksCenter for August 4th, 2024. Thank you for being here. My name is Rob Whiteside. I'm your host. And please, if you have not already, subscribe to this channel, WDWNT-TV, the good one. And also, please make sure that you give us a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. And when I say us, I mean our ragtag band of great Disney fans, starting with Stephanie.
Hi, everybody.
And Shannon.
Hello, have a lot of opinions tonight, so buckle up, kids.
I was really hoping you would do your Debbie was sick, but make it about Tropical Storm Debby, but we'll do that later. And too soon, sorry. And Patrick Hackett.
Clever retort.
That's exactly what we've come to expect from you. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. And again, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. We're going to watch in chat, so chat along, super chat if you feel so moved. And thank you guys for being with us on your Sunday night. I hope everybody is safe. The first thing we wanted to talk to is the Debbie is here. If you are in Florida, Florida is under a state of emergency. And you know what? That usually doesn't stop people from going to the parks. I remember one time driving into a hurricane thinking it's going to be fine. We've already got our vacation plan. We'll just go there. And as scary as this is a tropical storm looking to hit landfall tomorrow morning. And so we will see how it affects everybody. So we just hope anybody who is in Florida is staying safe. If you've got a place to shelter, please do. And then Stephanie, you are in about the second worst place I feel like to be short of Florida when it comes to storms like that. Any thoughts, suggestions?
If you are in Florida, the hurricane drill, you get a giant cooler and you put a bunch of ice and you put all of your cold things in that to ride out the hurricane so that in case of power outage, you can have at least your milk and things like that can be transported. So I do know this because Louisiana actually has had, I'm up in west Louisiana, but we have actually had a lot of hurricanes come through and we do get like category 1 or 2 sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Patrick, have you been to Disney in a hurricane?
I haven't. I don't think that would be something I would do. I would probably reschedule my trip for a hurricane. This gets me to thinking, though, when these happen, there's painfully little to do inside at the resorts. I was thinking about this my last trip when there was a lot of rain, and I'm like, it wouldn't kill them to have an indoor pool.
I mean, yes, I guess so.
Yeah.
When we were there for ours, we ran into the parks and it was probably a mistake, but they were still open, and then it was way nasty overcast, and then we went back to our hotel where they told us to shelter in place until they said otherwise. And when we got out of that, we were staying at Saratoga Springs. You're familiar, Patrick. And then we went to Artist Palette afterwards because they said we were going to have the typical Disney DJs and characters and all that kind of stuff. So they did have something that night. And one of my favorite moments with my daughter when she was little, she was less than 1, and Donald Duck sat down on the floor of the Saratoga Springs lobby and kind of sat there with her, and it was like it was magic incarnate. And it's like, okay, we went during a hurricane, but they took as good a care of us as they possibly could have. So of all the things that, we may say one way or another about Disney, I feel like this is an area where they understand and they try their best to keep people safe and, and keep them happy. So I know there are a lot of vloggers who live down that way who will shelter in a Disney hotel because that's where, that it's probably the best place to be because of, all of the things that they have in place and power and food and things like that. So again, we hope everybody stays safe from Debbie. And this is, of course, only the beginning, unfortunately, of hurricane season. So let's move on to talk about something a little more upbeat. Our friends over at Universal have announced their final land in Epic Universe. And I can't help but feel like with D23 on the horizon, some of this was strategic and that maybe like the day after D23 they'll tell us when this thing is opening. But I kind of have been looking forward to these announcements, Stephanie. Like when they happen, I like pull up the video and watch the fly through, and I feel like they're giving us more information than I've ever seen somebody give us for a new land over a year in advance. And so as I've been looking through, and I want to ask you guys, I know Patrick and Shannon, you guys aren't really excited about this. So what I want to ask you guys, think about this. I'm going to go to Stephanie first about the Wizarding World, but coming back to you about what land at at Epic Universe do you feel you're most excited to see? That's the only answer I'm looking for. But Stephanie, are you excited about?
That's assuming I know what the lands are, but I'll play the game. Go ahead.
Mario, Super Nintendo, Dark Universe, How to Train Your Dragon, Celestial Park, which means nothing to you if you haven't been following it, and of course the Ministry of Magic. So, you good?
Got it.
Okay, cool. All right, Stephanie, did you watch the Ministry of Magic stuff, and are you a Harry Potter fan?
I did. I am not a Potterhead, but you know what? I love an immersive land. I will tell you that. And this looks incredibly immersive. And it looks from the movies that, you know, you're walking in to the Ministry of Magic just how they had it in the movie. And I do feel like the ride vehicle looks similar to what they have for Forbidden Journey, which totally makes me nauseous. So I really hope that that's not the case, because then I could actually ride the ride. But it's supposed to be the every which way elevator system is gonna be pretty cool. And I love the fact that they have Umbridge as the villain, and it's not just Voldemort, but it's her, and she is a great villain, by the way. I mean, she did a phenomenal job on The Crown and everything, but she does a great job as a villain. And I would say I may be interested in Isle of Berk. I think, you know, for the kids that's going to be really cool. But even though I'm not a huge like Horror Nights fan, I really am most excited for the Dark Universe. You're muted, Rob.
Of course I am. So let me go back to this artwork and say that, like, I think I've seen some things posted on social media where people are like, it looks like the fifth dimension at Tower of Terror. It looks like the Tower of Terror elevator, and I assume it's probably, you know, like you said, it looks a lot like Forbidden Journey. So maybe if you're in an elevator like Tower, but they're moving it around like Forbidden Journey. So. Or it could be a brand new ride system, but they, you know, this ride and then the ride for Dark Universe, they're saying like these are like mind-blowing, change the game, attractions coming. So it'll be interesting to see what our boy Josh tomorrow has to to tell us about when we get to D23. 1 week from today, it's close, it's happening, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Patrick, land, Dark Universe, Super Nintendo, what are you feeling?
Yeah, Super Nintendo for me. I've wanted a Mario Kart attraction since I started getting into theme parks, and I'm very excited for that. I have not been to Universal since pre-pandemic days, so it would take something for me to get into their parks.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do as far as like annual passes and access and all that kind of stuff, because I re-upped my annual pass with them. For Universal Orlando, but it's only still 2 park. And also, I wonder if they'll continue to call Volcano Bay their 3rd park, or if they'll stop that nonsense and then say 3 parks and a water park. Shannon, before we go, now that you know the lineup, what are you feeling?
Yeah, well, Super Nintendo World, obviously. I went to the one out in Universal Studios Hollywood, and it was kind of a love-hate. I loved it, but it also was super tight. There wasn't a lot to do, and I was only able to ride the Mario Kart ride once, so I want to be able to do that again. I want the Donkey Kong coaster, so I'll go see that.
Okay. Excuse me. So we do have a super chat. So Shannon, are you prepared for a super chat?
I gotta get warmed up like the Olympians.
It's from Jungle Cruiser. Love the auction today. Purchased a Mark Davis business card and a Funko Pop keychain. Got 2 Magic Band pluses for $4 at the Disneyland Lost and Found sale. Hundreds of people came out. Yeah, I saw that. Jungle Cruiser had told us about the Lost and Found sale. That's crazy. So people lose things at Disney, probably that they bought at Disney, and then Disney sells it to other people.
They're the best. Can't beat that.
They just need to make a little cat, like walking around money. That's the problem. They just have to get a little bit of scratch. But I do love that for you, Jungle Cruiser. I'm glad that you got some stuff from the place. So thank you again for the super chat. We appreciate it. Let's talk about some spooky parties, because there are two. There's one on each coast, and they're vastly different, and especially different in the way that people get excited about them, because the Oogie Boogie Bash breaks the internet when people when they go on sale. Some people have to ask people to buy them tickets because they're afraid they're going to sell out, and they do sell out, and they go very fast. And then on the other coast, we've got Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. But let's talk about Oogie Boogie Bash for a second, only because I like to make sure that Patrick gets nice and mad early about all the things that Disneyland has that we don't have on Disney World side. So one of them is they have these great villains, like villains you wouldn't expect to see in other places. Now, they've done this like little tease thing before. This teases Hades and Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Now, Hades we've seen around before, unless they're trying to do something different with Hades than we've seen before, like a face character, or maybe actually bring James Woods out to the park. I have no idea.
That'd be amazing.
What's he really doing? I mean, honestly, like, what's he really doing? Like, couldn't he just come spend the day on the stage over there? And I mean, I feel like he could. Dr. Doofenshmirtz, otherwise, though, like, that's...
Dan Povenmire can do that.
Yeah.
He's there all the time anyway.
He can and would do that, I think, is the
and
other part
100% would, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Patrick, when you look at all this stuff for Oogie Boogie, and it makes you angry, right? You want this stuff on the East Coast.
Yes, it makes me angry. Because Disney World needs this stuff. We're supposed to have the blessing of space, but apparently we don't get the blessing of good attractions and meet and greets and fun stuff. You get the things that you get, and you don't get upset at Walt Disney World. That is where we're at. They also teased the doctor in the wheelchair from one of the claymation ones as well in that trailer. So this Oogie Boogie Bash is always so good. The meet and greets are always so unique, and the character interactions are amazing. And I'm super jealous. I am super jealous. I don't know what would draw me back to go to another Not So Scary, but man, I would love to get out there for an Oogie Boogie Bash.
Well, I do love a Disney party. I will say that. But I'm looking, as much as I love Oogie Boogie Bash, I love, like, the vibe. I'm a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I love the villains. I love the treat trails, the Villains Grove, all that stuff. The merch always leaves me wanting more. It seems like it's always this. It seems like it's always, like, just green and purple, and maybe that's just because that's Oogie and that's Halloween. I do kind of like the stitching down the side of that sweatshirt. But Stephanie, you're going. Are you excited? Are you ready? Are you prepared?
I'm trying to be. I got up every morning and did my dining reservations this week. So yes, I'm trying to be prepared. It's August, so of course this means this is Halloween, right? So we're gonna have to talk about Halloween stuff. I'm thrilled to be going this year. I'm hopeful that we get to see everybody and do all the things that we want to do. And it's not, it is sold out, obviously. All of the dates are sold out. So I'm a little worried about the crowd size. But other than that, I think it's going to be fun.
I think you just like Disney or the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I think you have to pick and choose. I don't think you can do all the characters and all of the specialty foods and all the treat trails and all that kind of stuff. So, I definitely think you need to lay out what's going to be more exciting for you. But looking at the calendar for the other side of the country, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, there are some sold out dates. We are almost completely sold out for August. But there are still, it's August now, and there are still 2 dates available for August. And then, again, looking at September and then October, really only the Halloween day is sold out. So, Shannon, thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, the only thing scary about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is the price tag. That is absolutely outrageous. And I am horrified. Truly, I turn a blind eye to it every year because I love Mickey's Not So Scary. I would pay whatever, but I remember when it started at $60, and now that there are some days up to $200, that's crazy for a family. That's an extra $1,000 for one night, if not more. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I'm going to go this year. Stay tuned.
I need you to do this for me again. This is really important. When you set that up and you said the only thing that's not that's so scary, or that's scary about Mickey's Not So Scary is what?
The price tag?
I was looking desperately for that. Couldn't find it, and I just needed that moment. It was one of those things where like my brain itched, and it had to still happen. So I apologize to everyone. It still needed to happen. So, and I don't like this.
I don't like this.
Yeah, exactly. So we're back. We're good. Let's move on to Haunted Holiday, because I wanted to work in as much Nightmare Before Christmas into this episode as possible, Patrick, because I know you're a fan. Haunted Mansion opened up again, actually earlier than we thought. When does that happen? When does Disney go, oh, we're going to open early? Because the people out in California are still unaware of when their Tiana's Bayou Adventure is going to open. So, meanwhile, we're over here going, hey, this is, we've got Haunted Mansion's open, which is good, because when we're in Disneyland and you get down to that side of the park, it was Haunted Mansion was closed, Hungry Bear was closed, Winnie the Pooh was closed, like that entire entranceway. You couldn't go that way to Galaxy's Edge. You couldn't go down to, the shops or anything. It's all been just completely shut down. So it's nice to see some of it open back up again. But Shannon, have you looked at any of the stuff from, have you looked at any of the stuff from the Haunted Mansion Holiday? Did you see like the iconic this year's gingerbread house?
Gingerbread house? No. I always try to keep it spoiler free for the eventual time that I'll go. It's a bucket list item. I've never actually done Haunted Mansion Holiday. Oh. So I'm just trying to.
Me too.
No. So I try to not spoil it too much. I have seen the gingerbread houses in the past, and they're amazing. And I love that they change that every year. But maybe this is my year that they're opening it earlier. I don't know.
Maybe.
See.
Patrick?
Man, when are they just going to make this the permanent version of the Haunted Mansion there? It's going to be over a year since the normal mansion has returned. And honestly, everyone loves this one. Why keep taking it away and bringing it back? Just leave it. I don't think people would really complain that much.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree with you only because I love it so much. But, I mean, I've done it a couple times in the same day before. Now you can't really do that because it's all virtual queue because you can't get back in that area. That's the other thing I meant to say about it is it did open to virtual queue. Now, I'm going next week for D23, so I'm excited to be able to go to it. And looking at, I've been keeping an eye on virtual queue. It seems to be open for most of the day, so I'm excited that there's a possibility that I may still be able to get in there. Like right now, so it's 9:20 our time, 6:20 their time. They still have a join the virtual queue button that's up, as opposed to you sneeze at 7 a.m. and you lose Guardians.
Yes.
So like,
just yawn.
Yeah. I've done that before. It's kind of like trying to, and I know they're changing this for Southwest, but it's kind of like trying to get that Southwest like Group A. Like if you don't get it on that half a second, you can't get it. So anyway, I'm excited to be able to go and see it again, but more excited about the fact that they have added capacity back to a park that desperately needs more capacity. With Splash / Tiana down, several different shops and restaurants and things down. There's a lot of people there, and there's not a lot of space to move around. So, they announced a new ship. I'm actually dizzy about how many ships the Disney Cruise Line has announced. I feel like that it's an old bit for people to go, can you name the 7 dwarfs? Stephanie, can you name the 8 ships in the Disney fleet?
Oh, no. Maybe I could give it a try. You can do it, Shannon.
I can get close.
All right, Shannon, go for it. Tear it up.
Okay. Magic, wonder, dream, fantasy, wish, adventure, treasure, destiny. Mic drop.
Wow.
Yes, exactly. And so we kind of have 3 that they're hyping at the same time, which I think is confusing. Maybe I don't know. They've got
it is
The Wish just opened last year, I guess, right, or earlier this year. Treasure is in December, and then we've got Adventure, which is the one they bought that they're retrofitting to be more Disney, and then you've got the new one that they just announced everything about, the Destiny. So it looks pretty cool. There's going to be a Haunted Mansion bar on it, which is very similar to what we're going to see on the Treasure. There's going to be a Pirates of the Caribbean lounge, and there's going to be a Cruella de Vil lounge on the Disney Destiny. They've announced a bunch of stuff about this, but our own Shannon has some beef about this one, and so we've promised the floor to her for this one. So Shannon, take it away.
Yeah, so weeks back, maybe months back, when they announced some of the fun things coming to Treasure and Destiny, I said to Rob, I'm like, we have to talk about this because they dropped it that it's going to be villains and heroes. And I said, this is what we've been waiting for so long. Villains need their time to shine. I was so excited. Then they came out with Mansion Bar, with Pirates Lounge, with Cruella de Vil Lounge. And then they go and say, Atrium theme, Wakanda, Black Panther. And then we're going to slap Spider-Man on the back. And I'm like, can we just pick a lane? Can we just make a Marvel ship? Why can't we just have separate themes? It drives me nuts. I think it's because there aren't enough Marvel fans that they won't do their own ship. But you know when Stitch pulls his eyelids down? This is worse than Cindy. Cindy, what do you say? Crawled so Black Panther could run away from the beautiful theming that was nautical Disney characters. No hate to Black Panther or Spider-Man, but just give them their own ship.
First of all, I'm reeling. First of all, I was a little bit confused about when you said there aren't enough Marvel fans. Is that something that we're lacking in the world? Is not enough
For
Marvel
its
fans?
entire ship,
Number one movie in the country, Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think this is why part of the reason why Star Cruiser failed is like it was so niche. It was like people who love Star Wars, who love to role play, and who have the deep pockets to do it. I don't think you could ever have a Marvel ship on its own for this.
I'm with you.
I think love the role play and have the deep pockets is the variance there. There's that circle doesn't fit. I don't think
they don't Venn that diagram.
The Venn diagram doesn't work. Speaking from someone who is like, that's real life for me, is like, I love the Star Wars part, don't have the deep pockets, but yeah. So I don't disagree with you on that part of it, but I was shocked when I saw Spider-Man on the back. I was like, is it time for that already? Like, I thought maybe that was ship number 10. Like, I didn't think we were there yet already on that one. So I don't know. I'm a little bit confused on that one. Patrick, any other thoughts before we move on this one?
I like the Aqueduct with the new theme. I think that's really cool. I will never go on a Disney cruise until they at least try to get remotely in line with the other cruise lines in the country. Like, it's absurd.
Is it because there's no gambling? No, that's why it is. It's because there's no gambling. No, I get you. It is very expensive to go on one, but yeah, I don't know. I love the idea of them taking their park attractions and knowing that their audience loves the Disney parks and making, a Jungle Cruise themed lounge and the Haunted Mansion and all that kind of stuff. Cruella de Vil is a weird pull, especially like
I love it.
Shannon
I think
said,
it's a great
jazz
pull.
singer.
But when you've got Black Panther in the lobby, that is a little bit of a weird pull for that one.
She's after dogs, not cats, Rob.
It's gonna have.
It's not like Lockjaw is sitting out there. Pizza dog. Dog pool. See how many more Marvel dogs I can get to. I think that's it. I think that's all I got loaded in the chamber.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go. Keep doing the show.
All right. No. I mean, I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure.
I'll eventually think of another Marvel dog and shout it out. But
I feel like more of the pets are in the DC universe. Am I right there? Like
I mean, there's Throg. The frog Thor.
So when we're looking back, it's like, where exactly
there's
did
a
we
whole
lose
pet
Stephanie
Avengers.
and Shannon? This is it right here. This is where we are. Before we move on, though, I do want to say we got another super chat I need to go back to. So CK Barry said, currently sending 7 friends their individual barcodes for the Honda Center. 8 people times 3 nights equals 24 barcodes. And then I'm not the biggest Potterhead either, or as Bricky says, the boy witch, but looks good. Dark Universe for the win. Thank you, CK Barry. We appreciate you, and thank you for the super chat.
Jungle Cruiser also corrected you that the money raised from the Lost and Found sale goes to the Goodwill, not to pay off Bob Chapek's golden umbrella.
I mean, that's fine. That's good. That's a great thing. That's like when they pull all the change out of It's a Small World and give it to UNICEF. I love that. Okay, let's move on and talk about Deadpool. So as many of you know, there aren't a lot of Marvel fans out there. But the Deadpool movie is the #1 movie in the country / the world, and Deadpool descended on Disney California Adventure. I love that they didn't put this picture in Avengers Campus. They put it like at the like we're at the Pixar Pal Around for the meet and greet. That would be kind of weird. So so Patrick, when you saw that Wolverine and Deadpool were going to be at Disney California Adventure, did you book your flight then, or are you still
I
out?
Definitely considered it. I have not gotten to the movie theater to see the film yet, so I'll start with that. But I was just thinking, we recently celebrated the 17th anniversary, the 16th anniversary. We celebrated an anniversary here at WWNT. And I'm just thinking to myself, what would have Tom and Jason and the mayor, Justin Hyman, and Scott Smith and Anthony Aculo thought about this? Deadpool and Wolverine in DCA. And Deadpool vamping like Deadpool. It was really, really well done. Man, I am once again jealous. I do understand why we can't have more Marvel things in Walt Disney World. That one I at least get and understand. But yeah, it looks amazing.
Speaking of which, I thought this was interesting, is that they have an embargo on the popcorn bucket at AMC at Disney Springs. Like, they can't even
That's
have
weird.
the popcorn bucket at AMC Disney Springs. They can show
Because
the
that's
movie.
not a theme park.
Right, but they can show the movie, but they can't have the popcorn bucket there because
those are different. Those are different things. So, man, because I don't know, a long time ago back in the day, somebody actually got the contract and it was significantly redacted, and we spent one of our long, Skype calls poring over the contract, and to the point that the monorail that was wrapped, the Avenger Rail, could not be on the park line because once it entered into Epcot, it violated the contract. But Disney Springs is not a theme park, so I don't know what that is. It could just be that they don't want that gross-looking bucket that was made to parody the Dune bucket in front of that many children. I don't know.
I mean, maybe. Can I tell you the other thing I love about this is the fact that Wolverine has his mask on, because that's a big problem that I have with Star-Lord. And Star-Lord looks so little like Star-Lord that I refer to him as Star-Lord Steve. And the fact that all they need to do is put a mask on him and run some Chris Pratt lines out of his helmet, and you bought in. But the guy that they have there, I mean, yeah, he can dance, but that's about it. I mean, he doesn't really look like Star-Lord, and he can come at me. That's fine. It's not about him. It's about the fact that there's a fix for it, and it's a mask, and that would work. And so that's one of the things that I love about this too. So anyway, I'm excited about this. The only thing that I have a problem with about this, I love the timing that they do. There's so many things they drag their feet on at Disney, and it takes too long to get things into the parks. With Marvel stuff, it's tomorrow the movie drops, tomorrow the characters are in the park, tomorrow the TV show drops, the characters are in the park. I just hate that they're there for such a limited amount of time, but I guess that encourages people, because it's a locals park, encourages people to go and get there as quickly as possible to be able to see it. So again, I'm excited. I hope he's there next week, but watching some of the video, you're right, it's like very on brand. It definitely doesn't sound like Ryan Reynolds, but it's Deadpool, so it's fine and it's fun. And I hope, and we'll talk about D23 in a second, that at the Honda Center that that Wolverine and Deadpool come out in costume, and that it's actually Ryan Reynolds, and it's not gonna be.
But you can dream.
Anyway, it's fine.
Never know.
So let's talk about Fantasmic. Poor Fantasmic on the other coast. The one that happens at Disneyland, which has always been my favorite version of Fantasmic because it just seems so, I don't know, it seems just a little more charming, but I don't love that you sit on the ground. I like the seats that we have. We've talked about this a ton of times. Like, there are advantages to both. But the one in California has had so many issues recently, and I feel like they kind of backed down once the Maleficent Dragon caught fire. And they were like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. And they took that down and they made the Maleficent on stilts, and then, or the cherry picker or whatever she's on. And then, there was the Mickey thing, which we talked about that before. The Mickey thing went off, and Mickey handled it like a champ, where the fireworks came out of his fingers too early, and then he got up there and just rolled with it. And that's the new thing, is that there was a pyrotechnic that went off at a time when it wasn't supposed to happen. And the actors, again, were just all over it on their game. And Shannon, I don't know if you've seen the one in California or not, but I mean, you got to respect, if you watch the video, you got to respect how well those the cast members stayed in character for that.
Sure, but why does it keep happening is the question I have. And like, right? Like, they've had a lot of issues. Let's get that. It's California. The wind blows a little too hard and you can't have fun anymore. So they need to be careful. There's going to be no more fan, wherever people call it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, but like with this one, it's not about the wind, I don't think, because the pyrotechnic went off early, or late. One, it wasn't supposed to go off while the monkeys were floating by. And it did, so that's definitely, I mean, and it's an interesting process where they set up Fantasmic and then tear it down. There's the huge lighting towers that are on the side over by like River Bell Terrace. They go into the ground. Like, there's a lot of technical aspects of it that go really well, but then when it doesn't go well, it's a little bit scary. Patrick, you want to talk about this one before we move on?
No. Stephanie, you covered my points. And so, why does this keep happening?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
This is bad.
Okay.
It's real
All
bad.
right, well,
somebody's going to get hurt.
Let's move on then. All right. So MultiPass is this thing that I'm still trying to call it D23, the ultimate Disney fan event, as opposed to Expo. I'm trying to get Expo out of my vernacular, and then trying not to say Genie Plus and saying Lightning Lane Multipass. So with Lightning Lane Multipass, it kicked off on the 24th of July, and immediately Tiana's Bayou Adventure was gone. And it's just like, it's one of those things where, people seem to be buying it just because they're like, that's the new attraction. That's the new hotness. I want to go see what they did to the mountain. And so they just scoop them like hard. And it's so funny. It's like hearkening back to the days with where you had 30 days ahead of time to book your trip, and you would grab your fast passes. But, some of the things are still like virtual queue and paid Lightning Lane, or Lightning Lane single pass. Sorry. And so it feels a little bit different, especially since you're paying for it to try to get a Lightning Lane here. But let me go to you on this one, Stephanie. On your next trip, I assume you'll be shoveling out some money for Lightning Lane Multipass. And are you, again, like you were talking about your Disneyland reservations, ready to get up at the crack of dawn?
I really resent that part, I will tell you. I like to stay up late and the kids all sleep in, and then we get to the park around 10. But yeah, I think it's a little different when we're talking about Disneyland versus Disney World. I definitely think that, according to the people that I follow and watch on the blogs and things like that, saying that if you really want to get your money's worth of this, you really need the park hopper ticket. Because I think that opens up more availability later in the day. A lot of times the attractions come back, like Disney puts more times out there. So yeah, I think that if you're going to do it, then definitely have a park hopper ticket. If you don't have a park hopper ticket, then maybe you just do the single one.
Okay. Patrick?
I am quite excited for this because I like to pre-plan. I like to know, like, all right, we're going to start our day. We're going to work around the park right to left. We're going to hit attractions in that order. I read up on it, and I like that once you tap into your park, you tap into your first Lightning Lane Multipass. Yeah, got it.
Yes. Yes.
Lightning Lane Multipass. I feel like I'm playing pinball now. Once you tap into that, you could then go and explore another park if you wanted to. It feels a lot like an evolution of the old Fast Pass, which everybody liked. And yeah, all right, the free is gone, and we're just gonna have to deal with that. But can we build it into my AP so I don't have to think about it? You're so much better at getting to separate me from my money when I have to think less about it and do it in big lump sums.
Right.
When I feel like I'm being nickeled and dimed, I at least consider it. I think about it.
No. Yeah,
like,
I've said the same thing.
Or roll it into the cost of the deluxe resorts. I think we talked about that too.
Yeah. All good. All right, so let's move on to talk about D23 2024 because, again, I'm trying not to call it Expo. We're trying to figure out what things that we're going to expect to happen. We know the Tiana's Bayou Adventure for Disneyland. They still haven't announced a date. It's funny to me when they do things like they dropped all the Disney Destiny stuff. Like, it seems to me that would have been like, hold on another week. Hopefully that means they have so much to talk about that they're going to need all of that time, and they can't mess around with the cruise line, and they're going to just tell us about attraction after attraction that they're going to be building for us. There's a lot of things that are still out there, like when Josh D'Amaro took that stage in 2022, he talked about some, again, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I believe it was Expo that he talked about the Pirates Bar in Adventureland, and that still hasn't happened. So I
it's
hope
a gift
that we
shop
get
now.
Well, Tortuga Tavern's the Tortuga Treasures now. Yeah, that is definitely a thing. But Patrick, I think you're excited most about the fact that they've just renovated their intent to build Reflections, a lakeside resort. And you're excited about that?
Stop trying to make this resort happen. I like it. I like the looks of it. I have a tab open right now to dvcmember.com to try and find literally any accommodation so I can come down and enjoy the holiday decorations. Not finding anything, not even at my beloved Saratoga Springs. So it's not that I don't want this, and actually it looks interesting. It looks more interesting than the Polynesian Holiday Inn that they're building. But like, just stop. It's just it's not happening. And that's why I don't like D23. That's why we're gonna overpromise and underdeliver again and again and again. We're gonna talk about what's beyond our mountain, and it's gonna be like a hot dog cart. Maybe they'll put another place for egg rolls. Like it's
Rosita was saying in chat. I think it was Rosita was saying in chat like they should call Blue Sky 23 because all they do is say, "What if we were on the other side of?
What if we were a competent company? What if?"
Ooh, that's a lot. And also they're having they're having a whole week's worth of events. And I say week's worth like this because like a day at the Anaheim Angels like is one of the events, which is really just buy Angels tickets and get a bobblehead. And then they're doing Disney Day at Disney, or D23 Day at Disneyland, where it looks like they're doing more on D23 Day at Disneyland than they even dreamed for doing for the 69th anniversary. They're having a whole bunch of stuff happening there. So I mean that's exciting. I won't be there for that. That's on Thursday the 8th, and then the expo starts on the 9th. The Ultimate Disney fan event starts on the 9th. And then Josh speaks on the 11th. So there's a lot of stuff, Stephanie, that they've been talking about coming up. What do you think they're going to talk about, and what do you wish they would talk about?
Okay, so if you're from Texas, you know the saying goes, "Big hat, no cattle," and I feel like that's what the D23 Expo's been a lot. It really has, right? So they like you said, they promise a lot and under deliver. That's absolutely right, Patrick. So I'm hopeful that maybe this time they will talk about Beyond Big Thunder, but do not touch Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer. I think that you need the riverboat, you need something that's, water related in there, not sewage. I know we'll talk about that coming up, but something that it gives a more kinetic energy. Like we always talk about the motion, and you hear the riverboat bell and everything, and the horn going off, I guess. But yes, I think that they want to put something out because they have an earnings call coming up right this week before all of this happens, and that remains to be seen.
Well, according to our little website, wdwnt.com, if y'all haven't heard of it, one of the things was Journey into Imagination, which we've heard rumor of for a while. There was that whole thing with Imagineering where Figment was walking into Imagineering with a notebook. Test Track 3.0, they announced that in some way, like during Destination D23, which was last year in
that
in
attraction
Florida.
has undergone more refurbishments, and there's just empty pavilions sitting around. But you know what? Let's work on Test Track again. It's fine.
Well,
every iteration of it has been fine. Like, sorry,
well,
Rob.
and we
I
talked
just
about,
can't
and
do that anymore.
I know. We talked about, like, again, Cherry Tree Lane was going to be a thing when Bobby C was back at the helm. We were going to get the Play Pavilion. And, you know, why can't they keep the Play Pavilion and the Mission Space Building clean or painted or whatever?
Right.
It seems like we're redoing those buildings all the time. So, you know, I wish they would announce a hotel that didn't have a DVC in front of it. That would be kind of cool, especially that Epcot one we heard rumors of long ago, or the one at the other side where they demolished the AMC at Disneyland, at Downtown Disney, and do something else that is just a hotel. Not a DVC experience, but just a hotel. And then, of course, there's Avatar as a conversation. They talked about Zootopia movie happening in the Tree of Life. And so I've talked about this before. Every time we go back to Disney, I always go back to Dino Land, do all the stuff there, all of it, Triceratops spin every time, and then go back and do the Tree of Life because Tough to Be a Bug is supposed to go away. And then there's that Avengers ride that they've changed their mind on a couple times. And Josh gave me a poster last time and said, I promise we're making a King Thanos attraction. He handed it to me and he said, we're going to do this. I was like, okay, I believe you.
Did you tell
you're
him
awesome.
to?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I did. Shannon, talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on D23.
Anything, everything. Just give me something. I mean, at this point, I mean, truly, I need something to hang on to at this point. You know, we're making progress ever since Bobby Boy left, but it's not fast enough, in my opinion. Like, to Patrick's point, I mean, when is Test Track going to be slated to reopen? I'm going to be signing up for the senior citizen home by then.
Well, I mean, you know,
just give me something fast.
No, well, it's going to be fast. It's Test Track 3.0. It's going to be awesome. I did. You know, we talked about this a little bit, Shannon, on Deep in the Plus last week because we did Adventures Through the Disney Archives. There was a scene in there where they talked about World of Motion a lot, and that was one of the things that Josh teased. He's a little bit of a tease. Josh teased the fact that they were going to do World of Motion was going to be like kind of returning to this. Kids, look it up because most people don't remember World of Motion. They all go Horizons, and it's like World of Motion was good too. But I don't know if that was like strategic because that was back in 2020 that they recorded that special, you know, digging that stuff up, thinking how do we incorporate that back in? Like imagine Test Track, but riding through World of Motion with the animatronics. I would be floored if they would do something like that versus the Quasi-Tron of 2.0. So yeah, we're very excited to see how that works out. I think in the past, especially when Bobby C was there was a lot of updates on, hey, we told you we're going to have a ship. It now has a name. We told you we were going to have the Hatbox Ghost. Here's a season where we think we're going to put it in. Here's, you know, we told you that, you know, Tiana's Bayou Adventure was going to open up in, you know, 2024. It may still, and here's where we think it's going to happen. So it's a lot of giving you the name, giving you. I want real stuff, not I wonder what's on the other side of Big Thunder. To your point, Shannon, I want it to be, here's what's going to be there, and here's when it's going to be there. But we're probably won't get anything that specific. But we're not going to be on next week because that's when Josh E.D. is going to be talking. We're going to be listening to him
right at that time,
with open ears. Yeah, exactly. And so we'll be back the week after to talk about all the wonderful things that he has said that will change our lives and make them better forever.
I did wait real quick. I did think of something that would excite me if they actually decided to, you know, refurbish Spaceship Earth. That was supposed to happen before the pandemic.
Wow.
That I would actually be excited, and honestly, I would believe
it.
that's happening.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's one of those things that they said was probably going to happen, or what's going to happen as part of the reimagining of Epcot. And now they're like, it's done. And it's like, wait a minute, remember remember Cherry Tree Lane, whatever that was, or remember those other things we were gonna do, and the really cool looking festival center. Yeah, that's not a thing. Anyway, I'm just glad it's done. Epcot's done, but like let's add some more stuff. Though it's not done because Test Track is now shut down and being refurbished for your future enjoyment. So let's talk about how this feels a little Great Wolf Lodgy. What they're doing with the pool at yeah, right.
No, I love it.
Here we go. With the pool at the Caribbean Beach Resort, they are making people have wristbands to get in, as if it is the hottest club anywhere. And I assume, like it used to be back in the day, especially with DVC, and maybe Stephanie and Patrick, you guys can back me up on this. With DVC, you kind of had like the right to go to any pool that you wanted to. And
still
now
do.
Yeah,
well, and so,
right.
so now, not without a wristband. So
I am a DVC AP. Let me in. Do you know who I am? I know Tom Corliss.
Sorry, you have an AP. You need an AP Platinum. Sorry, that's you need to have the higher level to be able to get in.
Here's my Disney Visa. This says all it needs to.
Not enough. You want to be on the A-list or the A-list plus. There's always a higher level, right?
Higher
so
tier.
Reading into it, it looks like it's like a permanent thing. We've talked a little bit about things they've tested. They tested at Epcot. They were testing a different way to do security scans recently, and we saw that they were testing single rider at Rise of the Resistance. This doesn't look like a test. This looks like it's a done deal, and I don't know if it's because the Skyliner stops there and people. I mean, it probably looks a little obvious if they're like kids getting off the Skyliner in flip-flops with towels heading over to the pool, but I mean, it seems a little bit like gauche. I don't know, Stephanie.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like this is kind of ridiculous. They've always done the wristband thing over at the Stormalong Bay. And that's because it's like the best pool on property. And that was the one pool that you could not park hop or pool hop to, I guess you could say, with the DVC. So, and they specifically said that. They're like, you can't do that unless you have a reservation. And then they do check you. They scan your magic bands. We've stayed there multiple times. They put it in, even the little kids, that aren't necessarily on the reservation, if they're under 3, they'll still scan and they'll put a wristband on them too. So yes, they've always done that over there. And I understand why they do, but I think it's kind of ridiculous when you're talking about a moderate resort. I don't really know, other than, like you said, the Skyliner issue. Maybe that's why people are coming over. I can't imagine they're walking over from Riviera.
Oh my God, that pool looks so much better than ours. Let's go over there, said no one. I do think though that like I'm picturing your like youngest like getting frisked to get into the pool.
Yes.
I don't know why. That seems like a thing that's happening. But also
I think this is a good thing.
Okay, all right. Whoa. Okay, all right. But talk to us about it.
Yeah, listen, I don't at me, locals. But we all know what you do, and we know that you go utilizing those pools. They do, and those resorts, even a moderate resort, is not cheap. You could stay at a 5-star hotel somewhere else in this country for the same price that you stay at Caribbean Beach. I had a friend go take his family for the first time, and he was like, it was a lot of money for what it was, and it sure is. So these people are paying a lot of money to stay there. I don't think you should be able to be pool hopping, or locals should be able to start utilizing that pool.
But what about me?
Except Patrick. Patrick, you have to pay for a lightning lane to get into access.
Oh, no.
Legit, if I was staying at Boardwalk, my new favorite resort, and you allowed me to lightning lane Stormalong Bay, I would consider it.
Yeah.
I would absolutely consider it.
You know what? D23 pool passes upcharge. People would pay.
Excuse me.
There you go.
I'm an AP pool holder.
Well, I see Dawn in chat saying that you need to have that D23 gold to get in there. But the funny thing is, like, you can have Disney Visa, D23 gold, AP, and DVC, and it's still not enough. It's really still not enough. So, Patrick, you and I need to go in on Club 33, and we'll be right as rain. It'll be fun.
All right, give me another booking somewhere where I could make a little more money than Jay Leno gave me.
All right, Stephanie, before we move on, you were going to say something else about this.
Oh, no, just that I think DVC should be able to pull hop wherever.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If I want to go to an all-star resort and I want to lower myself to the all-star resort, as a DVC member, I am able to go there. Do you know the rules do not apply to me? I get to punch one cast member a year.
The comments of Patrick Hackett do not reflect that of WDWNT or ParksCenter Incorporated. Okay, so let's move on before we get in any more trouble here. This is actually a pretty fun story, and this came out on the 29th, so it's fairly recent. But there has been a call from MuppetVision 3D to be registered as with the National Heritage of Historic Places. Like, it seems weird that would be where you would register that. It seems like a Library of Congress situation, not like a historic thing happened on these hallowed grounds, but that the movie itself, because of it being like the last works of such an amazing man as Jim Henson, and it should be protected, and it should always be playing somewhere, even if for some reason they knock it down for an acolyte Manny Jacinto meet and greet. There's got to be
it's actually Manny Jacinto and he can quote Good Place lines. That is the only way that's remotely acceptable.
Well, I mean, it is pretty historic. It's a salute to all nations, but mostly America. So, Patrick, I'm sure you have thoughts on this as well.
I agree with it 110%. This attraction is more than an attraction. It's the last works of Jim Henson, and it is an historic site. I think that by protecting it this way, the parks are not a museum. We know that, and we say that frequently. But I feel like in this case, this building and this film does need to be preserved, and I do worry about it going by the wayside if something like this doesn't happen. I understand that there's probably a lot of things that we could say that about, especially at Disneyland, and it becomes a slippery slope. But for me, with personal feelings completely involved, my love of the Muppets, my love of Jim Henson, I really would like to see something done to protect this. Honestly, I feel that in Universal, E.T. is kind of on the same level. I know Steven Spielberg's still making films and stuff, but he worked on that. He was part of the reason Universal opened up. They do all this stuff about their retro and talking about attractions that they've torn down proudly. I would hate to see that just become like a little blue plaque that MuppetVision once stood here.
Yeah, no, totally. Shannon?
This isn't realistic, right? Like, I was reading this article and I'm like, good for you. But I just don't see this as being a real thing that Disney's going to do. I mean, maybe at D23 they're going to tell us that something's going to happen and this whole thing's going to, go to crap. But I don't know what else to say about it.
No, say more. Are you uncomfortable? Let's just leave this.
Yeah, I am.
Definitely before we move on.
I agree with Patrick 100%. I think that it should be, like he said, because the building itself maybe is not the historic site, but the work inside of it is. And they made the argument in the article that some of the characters and animatronics are bolted in, so those little effects and things cannot be moved or relocated and that sort of thing. And I think it is still draws a decent crowd. I've been in there recently there's like hardly anybody, and then I've been in there where it's packed. So I really do think that this is a thing. I think they have precedent for it. They've done it before.
Well, and you say that it's got to stay there because things are bolted, but they didn't have any problem pulling that out at Disneyland. When you go into that theater in Disneyland that was the MuppetVision theater, you can see elements of MuppetVision still in that lobby. If you look up in the rafters, you can see elements of the Frozen sing-along that was there for half a minute. And now it's Mickey's PhilharMagic. So, Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's one of those things that I think everybody says we would riot if it left, but to your point, Patrick, it's not a museum, and so I think that nothing seems untouchable when you gut the Great Movie Ride. Like everything seems like it's up for grabs.
All right, let's stop. This is
Oh, no.
this is such the most ridiculous thing that this network has ever done. This idea that was some sort of amazing attraction. It was a bad, outdated attraction. It's absolutely ridiculous that we go to these lengths. And it was filled with stuff that was not Disney related. Like, it's just, this and Horizons. Horizons was so great. Get out of here with that nonsense. It's just something that you're sad is gone. It wasn't important. Like, let's talk about Carousel of Progress. That's important. Let's talk about Mr. Lincoln. Those are things that are important. The Great Movie Ride is not what we make it out to be on this network. It was bad. It was a bad attraction. I know you worked there. I'm sorry, buddy. I know.
Send all comments to Patrick at WDWNT.
I think they turned that email off.
Answer them one at a time as they come in.
Turn that email off.
I will fight you tooth
Tom's
and nail
gonna
about that
pull the
one
plug.
because it was such a great attraction to me, and I do agree with you. It needed to be updated, but they had so much IP they could have updated with rather than ripping it out. Meanwhile, they could have put Mickey and Minnie down at the end of the animation courtyard, and it would still
100%.
matter as an animated the animation courtyard.
But
So I love Mickey and Minnie. I don't hate it because of that. I feel like that.
It's a building that exists elsewhere with IP that didn't belong to Disney in it. Like, come on.
Eventually, they're going to buy all that IP and they will own it, so it really doesn't matter. Yeah,
Not wrong.
Yeah.
Most
All right,
of Universal is owned by Disney anyway. It's fun.
There you go. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to It Came From the Parks. Normally, when we do It Came From the Parks, it has to do with people doing weird and strange things in the parks, but oh no, not this time. This is weird things happening in the parks that, I don't know, some of it's still a little bit strange, person-wise, but also animals and malfunctions. So this is how this works. I will tell the panel, I will read to them all of the options that they have for these stories because there were so many, and they're going to pick the one that they think that means the most to them, near and dearest, so dear to your heart. And so then they're going to talk about it, and it could be everybody could pick the same one, or everybody could pick a different one. And again, usually the longer the headline, the goofier it is. Parking lot tram closed, that has nothing to do with anything. At Disney's Animal Kingdom after SUV somehow gets stuck on the barrier. Freaking love. Squirrel almost catches fire. Look at that picture. Perfect. Oh my gosh. It looks like
that they deserve an award for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Squirrel almost catches fire at Walt Disney World. And lightning reportedly sparks fire near Disney Typhoon Lagoon Water Park. And sewage shuts down attractions and more at Magic Kingdom. Wait a minute. Cavalcade's canceled. Ugh. So many things to talk about here. I'm going to go clockwise. We're going to start with Stephanie and work our way down. Stephanie, which one are you looking at?
I'm going to take sewage for 500, Rob. I think that, this is
in the form of a question, please.
What is, I don't know, Columbia
Sewage?
Harbor House? I'm not sure. So, okay. Well, I think what they're doing is they're trying to make Liberty Square just more authentic, right? Have the sewage down the middle.
Wow.
So they step off, the cavalcade step off in Frontierland, and it appeared that Frontierland, at least that section down by Tiana's and, Pirates and everything like that in Adventureland was still open. So it had to have been either Liberty Tree Tavern and those terrible, 2-person bathrooms that we talked about before, or Columbia Harbor House, or I don't know. It can't. Rapunzel is too far away. That's more like Fantasyland. So I'm not sure where it came from.
Okay. Yeah, that was well played, Mr. Hackett.
All right, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up the squirrel image for me? All right. First of all, New York Post, amazing picture, incredible, well done. I hope you win an award. I want you to focus on that squirrel's tail.
Yeah.
This is not the first time it has gotten that close to that fire. I don't know what food is in there for that squirrel or what he thinks is happening. He just likes danger. I don't know, squirrel, what are you doing? But your tail has been singed off, and I think you need to get away from the volcano. In terms of the tram, how do you do that? How? Like, how? Just legitimately, I want to know. They have to release the video.
Here's my thought. Here's my thought is that they backed up.
Yeah.
And they backed up at such
Grandma
an angle
slammed on the pedal.
It slammed on the pedal in reverse, and it kicked up on there. That's the only thing I can think of too, is to be like that. I know I'm with you, dude. I looked at that and I was like, wait a minute, I need to understand the physics of how all this went down. So yeah, Shannon, bring us home.
Yeah, this is going to be an if you know situation. So I'm going to pull a loose connection to the sewage. Mouse gear, circa 2000. It always smelled like sewage in the back of that gift shop. You know where I'm talking about? Like if you're walking towards World Showcase. Does anyone here know that? It smells. Yeah. Okay. They raised that entire area for half a decade. And Creation Shop? You still get whiffs of sewage. What were you doing? How did you not fix this problem? I know people out there know this because I saw it on Twitter the other day, and I knew it wasn't just in my head as like nostalgic smell. I smelt it recently, and other people have been talking about it on X, Twitter. So it's real. Look it up, kids.
Okay. All right. By the way, usually we try to fit this into 60 minutes. We're going to go about 15 minutes over because we are not going to be doing a post show tonight. We usually do a post show for our WIGS members. We love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Thank you guys for being WIGS members. We're going through a process to change the post show, and so we just figured, you know what? For now, let's just go 15 minutes live for everybody tonight. So as Southwest says, we'll catch you on the next flight. When it comes to your exclusive post show, because our WIGS members do get exclusive post shows for shows like ParksCenter and News Tonight. So anyway, I appreciate you guys going through that one. Let's talk a little bit about fuel rods, because I know that I went specifically to Shannon. I was like, do you want to talk about fuel rods? Because I know this is a big deal for you. And she said, no. So
I don't use them.
Basically, oh my God, I have such a fuel rod problem. It is so I have tons of fuel rods to the point where I will carry 4 into the park with me, and then when I do, I usually get stopped because there's too many metal cylinders together, and I guess they think I fashioned them together into something not good. But a fuel rod costs $30 for a kit, and I have a kit right here. So the kit is actually like the fuel rod, and it's a nice little plastic case, and it's got the fuel rod in it, and it's got all these adapters and things that are in it. $30. And you know what? That sounds like highway robbery for a charger, but the unlimited...
And it is.
Wait a minute. But the unlimited swaps was what made it worth it, especially if you went to Disney a lot and always needed a charger. So then there was a whole class action suit when they were like, oh, this is really not a good financial model for us. We're going to start charging for swaps. No, you said that they were free. So what they're doing now is they're increasing the price to allow for the fact that this one has a USB and a micro SD slot on the top, but it doesn't have a USB-C, which is the new hotness in all things. So they're changing all of the fuel rods. I hope you guys at home are writing this down. They're changing all the fuel rods to be USB-C compatible. So the next time you go to swap out your fuel rod, not only will it not come back to you, but they'll give you a new kit that includes different things. So if you go to swap it out, it's going to give you a new kit, which is, you only get that the first time, and that's nice that they're allowing that. If you've never bought one before now, they're $38 instead of $30. That's quite a jump to go from $30 to $38. Patrick, you don't think this is a good deal, and I'm sure at $30 it didn't sound like a good deal. $38.
No, I had one when I went to Disneyland because I, literally got off a plane and went from my hotel. I bought one in Disneyland. I had a power bank that looked exactly the same that broke, and unfortunately I threw away my fuel rod instead of the one that broke. So that was awesome. I think it's fine. Like if you're in a bind, Rob, you're carrying 4. You're not like, that's completely not the purpose of those. You're supposed to be able to just have one. Go get an Anchor power bank. They don't pay me money, but they're the best on the market, and they can really give you a lot better bang for your buck than the fuel rod. But I like that they're giving you a fresh one.
Muted.
It's like when I buy Star Wars characters, I buy one to open, one to keep in the package, and one just in case. So I mean, same thing with my fuel rods. Is I like to make.
But
sure,
the thing is like honestly, you're supposed to have one, and then you put it in. They give you a fresh one, and that way you're only supposed to carry one. That's the purpose. You're defeating the purpose of the product, and you've spent more money than you've needed to. Not that that's not like on brand for you, my friend.
Wow. Wow. Well, so the way it happened was I was buying them at different times. Either I was in the park and didn't have it with me, or I needed one for my son as well. And so both of us had one. So I am the keeper of all of them now. And so when I go by myself, I'll carry multiple so that I can charge, like have them all charged. But the problem is sometimes, especially like if you're at Epcot, and if anybody is a fuel rod person like I am, you get to the other side of World Showcase and you're like, there's no machine here. It's nice that you have a backup one there, because the machines aren't like the trash cans every 30 feet. There are,
Isn't there one at
designated spot?
There is one at the International Gateway.
Yeah, the International Gateway. Yeah.
yeah. There's one there, and then, but if I'm in Norway, I got to hit up, Anna and Elsa and go, hey, can I just plug in for a minute here? And
I've seen people do it.
No, okay. It's fine. Tell me, Patrick, you appreciate my humor when I said Crane Manor. It's like Wayne
I got
Manor.
nothing.
Come on, it's like Wayne Manor.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Niles and Fraser. I'm like, they didn't have a manor. They lived in an apartment in Seattle with Eddie the dog.
Wow.
Anyway, all the dogs.
I always love to applaud Disney when they go and do that extra little something, that extra piece of magic. And so they have, I don't know when they started this, but our reporters found it over the past couple of weeks, is that they at night have been projecting Ichabod Crane in Liberty Square, which fits perfectly and is insanely cool to me that they have the animation of Ichabod as if he's up reading above the buildings in Liberty Square. Like, that to me is them going above and beyond. I love every second of that. I think that is so cool. And Stephanie, I see you smiling about it too. That's a pretty neat thing, right?
I love that. I love that they have him there. And then, of course, if you stay for the not so scary, you see the Headless Horseman coming down. I love all that. They need to be doing that more often. Let's put Ben and me, let's put that somewhere. And then everyone go check out our Deep in the Plus episode on that.
Yeah. Well, the mouse, Amos, is in Liberty Tree Tavern where the bad bathrooms are. So he's in there somewhere. So like at least that is a thing. But I love them. Just like, this is awesome. This is awesome. Somebody said, hey, you know what? Ichabod Crane is part of this, this genre, this time, and we could really do this. Here's the thing that drives me nuts, and Patrick, I'm gonna throw it to you because again, it's about Disneyland being better. At the Pirates of the Caribbean, when you come down into the main room where they're having the battle, there's a projection of, I assume it's Jack fighting in the shadows with somebody that's projected up on the fort. There's seemingly, to me, no reason you couldn't also add that one in Florida, especially if that already exists, but it's along the same lines, that kind of a thing where they plussed it out. Don't you agree? And also, do you love the Ichabod?
I love the Ichabod. I think it's amazing. I wish we would do more than this, and I hope it sticks around for more than just spooky season, because Ichabod is a character in that time period. He's not always distinctively Halloween, so it'd be great. This is the kind of stuff they should be doing, and we should be doing more of. I like that there's differences in the attractions from park to park, so I don't want the exact same thing, but I do like little pluses like this. I do, when I look at those windows, always think of great moments in history, but we can't have everything.
But just the American parts?
Aww.
It's a thing. Yeah, I know. I actually saw somebody post on Twitter about that today. It's like, does anybody remember this? Why doesn't Disney do this more? Yeah, it was a very cool, seemingly easy thing for them to pull off, to be able to do that. Let's finish off with pass holder perks, and there are pass holder perks happening at California, which shocks me because, again, we don't need to hype up the Magic Key program that's not on sale. It's like, look how cool it is that you can get Magic Key stuff, but yet you can't get a Magic Key. So that's one of those things. But back on the East Coast, they're doing pass holder exclusive. It looks like they're going to do magnets and exclusives at Animal Kingdom, which would include a magnet for the Lion King is the tease. That's pretty exciting because it's the 30th anniversary of the Lion King. Now, why they haven't done it already, I'm not really sure. But again, I feel like the stuff they do out west is sometimes cooler. So, but I do love the magnet. And then also, as a Magic Key holder, you can get this Inside Out 2 poster that's going to be strategically placed in the DVC Information Center at Disney California Adventure, so that if you were worried about it, they're going to try to take care of you by having you come in and maybe buy some DVC property, maybe a lakeside resort. You never know. But I also think it's interesting what Universal does, and Universal does like Universal AP Nights, which I think is pretty awesome. And then they have specialty foods and things like that. And then they have a new Back to the Future button that's coming. So where do you think, Stephanie, you get the most value out of being a pass holder?
Great question. Where do I get the most value? I think it's the before all the changes, it was just being able to go whenever you wanted to go, right? And now it's like you have to have these good to go days. Now I do feel like they're giving you more of them, and especially the summer is kind of surprising. But I think that they need to be like showing the love a little bit more, especially since Universal Epic is coming and it's going to be opening early. And I don't know how they're going to treat their pass holders when it first opens, but they, like you said, they do the pass holder nights. They have lounges. I feel like Disney's kind of dropped the ball a little bit with their, and kind of taken for granted, I guess, the pass holders that love them so much.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cheap to become a pass member, a pass holder. I mean, in California, it's almost like $2,000 for an Inspire key, but
right.
That's fine. It's fine. Definitely worth the free piece of paper. But some of the stuff they do at Universal, like this Back to the Future button, is kind of awesome. I don't know why. It's just the Hill Valley Clock Tower, but I look at it and go, that's really cool. I would like to.
Yeah, let's celebrate an attraction that we replaced with a property that Disney now owns.
Yes.
Yay us! We're so
You
good.
get it. You definitely get it.
Here's stuff from Ghostbusters. Here's the building where an attraction used to be. We got rid of it, but yay, we're so good. Here's a whole bunch of stuff about Jaws. The boy wizard came and killed the shark. But yay, Jaws. Remember Jaws? It's so great. God, at least Disney doesn't kick you around with this stuff, although they are calling the panel Horizons. So,
Yes.
they get the Epcot fanboys going with that. I actually think they're doing a decent amount for pass holders and DVC members lately. I feel at least a little more appreciated when I get gouged for all that money.
Yeah, I did think, speaking of money, that it was interesting that for Magic Key holders, they let you buy select, not all, but select Halloween merchandise early. This was a perk that was for Magic Key holders on July 27th. They could start buying things early. Now, it wasn't like, hey, you get the candy corn ears for free, or these are exclusive. It was like, hey, we're going to let you cut the line and buy this stuff early. And then what happens is you lose it, and then they sell it. No, I'm just kidding. That's a throwback to the thing we talked about. But Jungle Cruiser set us right on it and said it's all for all for the kids, so it's all fine. Anyway, yeah, I love when they do little things. The pass holder magnet, honestly, is this unnatural love that I have for the pass holder magnets. That I want them all the time. I want them all, and I have to have them. And I've literally considered, and I know, Patrick, this is of no surprise to you, I've considered like going down in a window when those were going to be available.
No, I have absolutely too.
Yeah,
because my daughter loves them. And she gets really excited when we get a new one. Just mail it to me. Why can't you mail it to me? Why do I have to put in that much effort?
Yeah.
Like, how much does that magnet and postage cost?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
or you just go to the park between this time and this time, show your ID, your magic band, and give a blood sample, and then they give you one.
No. Do you remember
Rob, they're
when...
not taking blood samples from me, buddy. I don't know what's going on with you.
What happened? What did I do? What did I do?
Do you remember going to, like, what is this? The Food and Wine Festival, and it would say if you go 3 times, you have to enter the park 3 times, and then you show your AP, then you get like a really cute cutting board or something that you can actually use. You know, why don't they do those? Yeah, exactly. Do that again.
I have the coasters here somewhere. Someone asked, the bowl is still missing. I do not know where the bowl is. We are in dark days.
I'm pretty sure that the cutting board was enter 5 times because I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but I know what you're talking about. I think it was like a Minnie Mouse cutting board for Food and Wine, maybe. Or Yep. All right. Well, that is our show for tonight. We appreciate you. We were off last week, so we had a little bit more to talk about tonight. And again, we ran over because in lieu of a post show. So hopefully you guys understand and appreciate that we went a little bit longer tonight for that. And we, again, big thanks to our WIGS members. Love our WIGS. The WDWNT Interglobe Society. If you have not heard of it, go to our Patreon at patreon.com/WDWNT. Also, sadly, we will not be on next week because beautiful Josh tomorrow will be on a stage in California telling us all kinds of things, telling us everything we want to hear.
Feeding us lies.
He's going to, no, not my boo. He's going to be telling us the truth. It's actual. But it's not satisfactual because
it's definitely not satisfactual.
It's not satisfactual. Yeah, nope. We're absolutely done with that, and we are no more rim shots. But I do want to say, I do want to remind you guys that we do have a show on Wednesday night. We have Deep in the Plus. 2 weeks ago, my good friend here, Patrick, did Wreck-It Ralph with me. That was a lot of fun. Last week, Shannon and I did Adventures Through the Walt Disney Archives, which was really cool. We're going to be doing the Steve Martin Father of the Bride, the original from, not the original, but the original Steve Martin one from 1991. And then on August 14th, we will talk about all the things that they told us at D23 about Disney Plus. And then on the 21st, the Aristocats. And on the 28th, Once Upon a Time, Season 1. Patrick said we are going to do that. And so Patrick and I are going to watch all of them.
I am on episode 5 right now. I have no idea how many.
I think that
show is completely and utterly did not remember how guarno crazy this is.
Well, and I think what wasn't the catalyst when we did the Descendants movie that it was. And it kind of felt like that. So, that's going to be fun to do. And I feel like, Stephanie, are you on that one too?
Yeah, it's a panel with Desi.
And Desi, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it'll be me, Patrick, and Stephanie, and Desi will be talking about Once Upon a Time. And is this the season like normal season ones with 13 episodes, or does it have 22? I haven't even looked.
I think it has 18, if I remember.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
because they're all like an hour
started because they're long.
Yeah. I don't
like this.
Yeah,
we've made a bad decision, but maybe we'll get good ratings. There's a lot of oncers out there.
Yep. Anyway, thank you guys again so much for being with us. So this is going to be a big week for Disney with D23 coming around the bend. Hopefully you're enjoying the Olympics when you get some time. That's a big thing that's happening. Lots of medals being given away and earned by our Team USA. So, and again, if you are in the path of Debbie, please shelter when needed. And just be safe. And hopefully everybody has a great week. And we will see you guys next time. Way to bring it home. I love that.
22 episodes.